peace be with you. The day is finished. The ledger is closed. There is nothing left for you to solve tonight. You have spent the last 16 hours in the world of particulars. You have dealt with the small tasks, the sudden noises, the endless decisions, the friction of the world. But here, in the shadow of the evening, we return to the universal. We return to the silence. Tonight, we are going to do something the modern mind rarely does. We are going to stop guessing and start knowing. We are going to walk the 5 paths of absolute certainty. We are going to sit at the feet of the angelic doctor, Thomas Aquinas, and watch as he builds, stone by stone, a fortress of logic that no anxiety can breach. But before we can understand, we must rest. The intellect cannot see the stars if the water of the soul is agitated. Let us order the faculties. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress, just as a stone settles into the earth. Gravity is the first law of peace. It holds you. You do not need to hold yourself. Command the senses to darken. You do not need to see the world to be safe in it. The walls of this room are strong. They will hold without your supervision. Command the will to resign its post. You are no longer the captain of the ship. You are merely a passenger. Command the intellect to be silent. The mind that seeks to fix the future, let it sleep. Imagine you are in a stone tower. It is the year 1270. Outside, the wind howls. Outside, the armies march and the markets shout. But here, inside the thick stone walls, the air is still. The only light comes from a single beeswax candle. The only sound is the scratch of a quill on parchment and the rhythm of your own breathing. You are safe. You are held. You are known. Adoro te devote, latens datas. The first way, motion. Thomas picks up his pen. He dips it into the iron gall ink. He writes the first question. Does God exist? The first way is the most manifest. It is the way of motion. Thomas asks you to look at the universe. What do you see? You see things moving. You see things changing. The rain falls from the cloud. The cloud is moved by the wind. The wind is moved by the heat of the sun. The sun is moved by the turning of the galaxy. Even as you lie here, your chest rises and falls. Your heart beats. The thoughts in your mind drift like clouds across a winter sky. Everything you see is being moved by something else. Thomas writes a sentence that is the foundation of all rest. Omne quod movetur ab alio movetur. Whatever is in motion is put in motion by another. To understand why this brings peace, we must understand the nature of the world. We must understand what it means for something to change. The world is made of 2 things, potentiality and actuality. Think of a piece of heavy oak wood lying next to the fireplace. Look at the wood in your mind's eye. It is cold. It is hard. It has been lying there since morning, untouched by flame. But inside that cold wood there is a secret. The wood has the potential to be hot. It is not hot yet. It is only potentially hot. The coldness you feel when you touch it, this is its actual state. This is what it is right now, in this moment. But hidden within its nature is the possibility of heat, the possibility of flame, the possibility of transformation. Now, look at the fire in the grate. The fire is actually hot. It is burning right now. The heat radiates from it in waves. You can feel it on your face from across the room. Here is the rule of the universe, the principle that governs all change. The wood cannot make itself hot. It cannot pull heat out of its own coldness. To become hot, it must be touched by something that is already hot. The fire, which is actual, touches the wood, which is potential, and the wood changes. This is the law Thomas discovered in Aristotle and made his own. Actuality precedes potentiality in the order of causation. You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot actualize a potential unless you are already actual. Think deeper now. Consider what it would mean for the wood to heat itself. It would mean the wood is both actually cold and actually hot at the same time, in the same respect. It would mean the wood possesses the heat it is trying to acquire before it acquires it. This is a contradiction. It is impossible. You cannot be potentially hot and actually hot at the same time. You are either one or the other. Therefore, nothing can change itself. Nothing can move itself from potency to act. You need an agent. You need a mover. You need something outside the thing itself to actualize its potential. The acorn does not make itself into an oak tree. The soil, the rain, the sun, these move the acorn toward its completion. The child does not teach himself to speak. The parents, the community, the world of language. These move the child toward speech. Everything that changes is being changed by another. Rest here for a moment. Let us look closer at this movement. In the silence of the mind, we must peel back the layers of what it means to change. Thomas teaches us that change is not merely things bumping into one another. It is something far more mysterious. It is the bridge between two worlds, the world of what could be and the world of what is. Consider the water in a glass by your bedside. It is liquid, it flows, but if you were to place it in the freezer, it would become ice. Right now, as it sits there, it is not ice, but it has the potency to become ice. It is potentially solid. When it freezes, that potentiality is murdered. It is replaced by actuality. The water becomes solid. Now ask yourself, can the water freeze itself? Can the potential ice inside the water reach out and turn the water into actual ice? No, because potential ice does not exist yet. It is a ghost. It is a shadow. A shadow cannot do work. A ghost cannot freeze water. Only something that is already cold, like the air in the freezer, can reach into the water and pull that potentiality into reality. This is why self-motion is a myth. To move yourself, you would have to be the puller and the pulled, the freezer and the water. You would have to be actually cold to freeze yourself, while being actually liquid to be frozen. You cannot be both. Apply this to your anxiety. You try to calm yourself. You try to move your mind from agitated to peaceful, but the agitation cannot create the peace. The chaos cannot birth the order. You are the water. You need the cold air. You need a mover outside of your own mind to actualize the peace within you. You cannot lift yourself by your own hair. You must be lifted. Thomas takes us deeper. He gives us the image of the stick and the stone. Imagine a long wooden staff lying on the ground in a medieval courtyard. It is dead wood, inert, heavy. It has no life in it. It has no power to move. It wants only to rest on the earth, to return to the soil from which it came. Now, imagine you see that stick moving a heavy stone, pushing it across the cobblestones. You know instantly that the stick is not doing this by itself. The stick is a borrower of power. It is moving the stone only because it is being moved by a hand. The stick has no power of its own. It is an instrument, a tool, a conduit. Remove the hand, and the stick becomes what it truly is. Dead wood, powerless, inert. Thomas asks us to look carefully at the chain of power. The stone is moved by the stick. The stick is moved by the hand. The hand is moved by the muscles and tendons. The muscles are moved by the nerves. The nerves are moved by the decision of the will. This is what Thomas calls a hierarchical series, a series of simultaneous dependency. It is not like a row of dominoes that fell yesterday, where each domino can fall because the previous one struck it in the past. That is a linear series, stretched out in time. Your father begat you, and his father begat him, going back through the generations. But that is not what we are discussing here. This is a here and now series, an essential ordering. The stone is moving right now, only because the stick is moving right now, only because the hand is moving right now, only because the will is acting right now. If the hand stops, the stick stops, and the stone stops. Instantly, there is no delay. The motion of the stone is entirely dependent, second by second, on the hand. The power flows down the chain in real time. Remove any link, and the entire chain collapses. Take away the hand, and the stick becomes dead wood again. The stone settles back to rest. Now, let your mind drift back and back up the chain of the universe. Imagine the chain extends beyond the hand. The hand is moved by the arm by the shoulder by the body. Could this chain go on forever? Could there be an infinite regress of movers, each moved by another? Thomas says, no, this is impossible. Let us walk carefully here. The modern mind says, why not? Why can't the chain go back forever? Imagine a paintbrush painting a masterpiece. The bristles of the brush are moving the paint. The handle is moving the bristles. The hand is moving the handle. If the handle were infinitely long, stretching back into the stars, miles and miles of handle, but there was no hand holding the end of it, would the painting get painted? No. The bristles would not move, because the handle, no matter how long, even if it were infinite miles long, is only a transmitter. It has no motion of its own. Zero motion plus zero motion, repeated 1 billion times, is still zero. You can add up as many mirrors as you want, but if there is no candle, you will never have light. This is why the chain cannot be infinite, because an infinite number of powerless things does not equal one powerful thing. An infinite number of mirrors does not equal a sun. There must be a source. There must be a hand. Here is why. In a hierarchical series, every member except the first is merely an instrument. It has no power of its own. The stick moves nothing by its own power. It only transmits the power of the hand. If there were an infinite number of sticks, but no hand at the end, then there would be no power at all. An infinite series of instruments with no first mover is like an infinite series of borrowed money with no one who actually possesses any wealth. Or imagine an infinite series of train cars, each being pulled by the one in front, but no engine. Would the train move? No, because none of the cars has the power to pull. They only have the power to be pulled. If there is no first car that pulls without being pulled, no engine, then nothing moves. But the stone is moving. You are breathing. The world is turning. Your heart is beating in your chest right now. Therefore, there must be a hand, there must be a first mover. But this mover must be different from everything else in the chain. The stick is moved, the muscles are moved, the body is moved by food and air and warmth. But the first mover cannot be moved. If the first mover were moved by something else, then it would not be first, it would just be another link in the chain. He must be outside the chain entirely. He must be the unmoved mover. Thomas calls him actus purus, pure act, pure actuality. He has no potentiality. He is not waiting to become something. He is not developing or growing or changing. He does not change because change means moving from potential to actual, and he has no potentials left to actualize. He is complete. He is finished. He is perfect. He does not get tired because tiredness is a potential for rest that has not yet been actualized. He does not get anxious because anxiety is a movement of the soul toward a future state. He does not react to the news because reaction implies change, and he does not change. He simply is. Ego sum qui sum. I am who am. This is the name God gave to Moses from the burning bush, not I will be, or I was, or I am becoming, just I am. Think of what this means for you, lying in your bed, your body heavy with the day's exhaustion. It means you do not have to provide your own momentum. You feel the pressure to keep going, to keep moving, to keep fixing, to keep pushing forward. You wake up tired and think you must generate energy from nothing. You think you are the hand. You think the world moves because you move it. You think if you stop, everything stops. But you are not the hand. You are not even the stick. You are the stone. You are being moved. You are part of a motion that started before time began. The motion that makes your heart beat. You did not start it. Your will does not cause it. The motion that makes the cells of your body divide and repair. You are not doing this. You cannot even see it happening. You are being carried by a power that does not fluctuate, does not weaken, does not tire. The unmoved mover is moving you right now, at this very second. If he stopped thinking of you for 1 second, you would not just die. You would vanish. You would collapse back into nothingness. The fact that you are here, breathing, existing, your lungs filling with air, proves that the hand is gripping the stick, proves that the unmoved mover is sustaining you right now, in this moment. The motion is steady. The motion is safe. The hand is not shaking. The unmoved mover does not have good days and bad days. He does not wake up tired. He does not lose focus. His power does not depend on anything outside himself. He moves all things, but nothing moves him. This is why he is the source of all stability in your life. When you feel the ground shifting beneath you, when you feel like everything is changing too fast, remember, the mover does not move. The source of all motion is perfectly still, like the center of a wheel. The rim spins wildly, but the axle is motionless. Your life spins, your circumstances change, but the axle holds firm. Rest in the momentum. God moves the universe so you can be still. Let your breath deepen. Let your shoulders drop. You do not need to hold yourself up tonight. The unmoved mover has you, and he does not let go. Thomas dips his quill again. The ink flows black and permanent. He writes of the second way, the efficient cause. In the first way, we looked at things moving, things changing from potency to act. Now we look at something even more fundamental. We look at things existing. We look at the making of things. We look at causes. Step into the smithy of the mind. The forge is dark except for the glow of the coals. The air is thick with heat and the smell of iron. Smell the charcoal. Feel the heat of the forge radiating against your face. Hear the ring of the hammer on the anvil. Clang, clang, clang. Each strike echoes in the stone chamber. Focus on that sound, the striking of iron. This is the sound of causality. This is the sound of one thing affecting another. In this world of iron and fire, nothing creates itself. The horseshoe on the anvil does not create itself. It comes from the iron. The glowing iron does not heat itself. It comes from the fire. The fire does not light itself. It comes from the spark. The spark does not generate itself. It comes from the flint struck against steel. Thomas writes with precision, "It is impossible for a thing to be the efficient cause of itself, for then it would have to exist before itself, which is absurd." Think about this slowly. Let the logic wash over you. For something to cause itself, it would have to exist before it existed. It would have to be there to do the creating before it was there to be created. It would have to act before it was actual. It would have to give being to itself when it had no being to give. This is not just unlikely, it is not just difficult, it is logically impossible, it is a contradiction in terms. You did not create yourself, you did not choose to be born, you did not design your own DNA or decide the century of your arrival. You are an effect, and every effect implies a cause. You are a word that has been spoken. A word cannot speak itself. A word requires a speaker. The bread on the table is an effect of the baker. The baker is an effect of his parents. His parents are effects of their parents. But Thomas is not concerned with this kind of temporal sequence, this backward march through history. He is concerned with something more immediate, something happening right now. Thomas distinguishes carefully between two kinds of causal series. There is the series of fathers and sons. This stretches back in time. Your father caused you to exist. His father caused him to exist, and so on, back through the generations. This is what Thomas calls an accidental series. The word accidental here does not mean random. It means the members of the series do not depend on each other simultaneously. Your father does not need to continue existing for you to continue existing. Once he brought you into being, you have your own being. If your great-great-grandfather had never existed, you would not exist. But his current non-existence does not threaten your existence now. That is a chain of history. But the second way is about a different chain. It is about a chain of being. Imagine a series of gears meshed together. Gear A turns gear B. Gear B turns gear C. Gear C turns gear D. Look at gear C. Why is it turning? Because B is turning it. Why is B turning? Because A is turning it. This is an essential series, per se ordered, essentially ordered. It is not stretched out in time. It is happening simultaneously. If gear A stops, what happens? Does gear B keep turning for a while? No. Does gear C keep turning? No. If the cause stops, the effect stops. Instantly. There is no delay. There is no independence. The motion of the last gear is entirely dependent, second by second, on the first gear. Now, imagine a great iron chain hanging from the sky above you. Visualize it. Heavy, dark iron, each link thick as your wrist, cold to the touch. The chain descends from the darkness above, link by link by link. You can see the link at the bottom. That is your life. It is holding a heavy weight, a massive iron sphere suspended above the ground. The bottom link is held by the link above it, and that link is held by the one above it, and that one by another, reaching up into the shadows. Now, ask yourself, does the chain hold the weight? Does the link in the middle have the power to hold? Number. The link in the middle is just iron shaped into a circle. It has no power of its own. It cannot defy gravity by itself. The link is only a borrower. It borrows the power to hold from the link above it. If the link above it were cut, the middle link would fall. The middle link does not hold the weight by its own strength. It only transmits the holding from above. We must distinguish, as Thomas does, between the cause of becoming and the cause of being. A builder builds a house. He is the cause of the house's becoming. He labors, he hammers, he saws. But once the house is built, the builder can leave. He can go home. He can die. And the house remains. The house no longer depends on him. The house has a kind of independence. This is how we usually think of causes. We think God built the universe and then stepped back to watch. We think we are the house, but Thomas says, no. That is the builder. That is the cause of becoming. Look deeper. Look at a reflection in a pond. Stand at the edge of a still, dark lake. You see the moon reflected in the water. The moon is the cause of the reflection. But this is a cause of being. If the moon is covered by a cloud, what happens to the reflection? Does it stay there? Does it say, I have been built, I will remain? No. It vanishes. The reflection exists only as long as the moon is shining. It is being generated moment by moment. It has no life of its own. It is pure dependency. The relationship between God and you is not like the builder and the house. It is like the moon and the reflection. You are not a statue carved from stone that stands on its own. You are an image being projected onto the screen of reality. God is the cause of your essay, your very act of existing. If the builder dies, the house stands. If the moon vanishes, the reflection dies. If God ceased to cause you right now, you would not leave a corpse. You would be erased. You would be like a song when the singer closes their mouth. Silence. This is the terror and the comfort. You are not a finished product left on a shelf. You are a melody being sung. The song feels the singer's breath in every note. You are intimate with God by the very fact that you exist. He is touching you, creating you right now. Thomas says, to take away the cause is to take away the effect. It does not matter if the chain has 10 links, or 10,000 links, or 1 billion links. It does not even matter if the chain has an infinite number of links stretching up into the darkness forever. If there is no hook in the ceiling, if there is no anchor at the top, the entire chain falls. An infinite chain with no anchor is just an infinite amount of falling metal. It is an infinite series of borrowed support with no one actually providing support. Think of it this way. Imagine you need to borrow $100. You ask your friend. He says, I don't have $100, but I'll borrow it for you from my brother. You say, fine. So he asks his brother. His brother says, I don't have it, but I'll borrow it from my friend. And that friend says, I don't have it, but I'll borrow it from my cousin. And the cousin says, I don't have it, but I'll borrow it from my co-worker. This could go on forever, an infinite chain of people borrowing from each other. But at the end of the day, would you have your $100 number? Because nobody in the chain actually has any money, they're all just borrowers. If everyone is borrowing and no one actually has, then no money ever moves. For you to get the money, somewhere in the chain, there must be someone who actually possesses the money to lend. There must be a first giver, someone who has without having borrowed. But look around you. The world has not fallen. The chain is holding. The weight is suspended. You are existing. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are filling with air. The atoms of your body are vibrating with energy. This means the chain is attached to something right now, not attached to another link that is also hanging, attached to something solid, something that does not need to be held up, something that just is. There is a first efficient cause, causa prima. And here is what most people misunderstand about this argument. This first cause is not just something that happened at the Big Bang billions of years ago, like a cosmic billiard ball that struck the first ball and set everything in motion. That would be a first cause in an accidental series. That would be about temporal priority, about what came first in time. But Thomas is not primarily interested in that. He is talking about ontological dependency, about what sustains existence right now. The first cause is happening now. God is not the architect who built the universe and walked away to work on other projects. God is the current, active, present cause of your existence at this very second. He is the floor beneath your feet. He is the gravity holding you to the bed. He is the very fabric of the reality you inhabit. Think of it this way. God is not the watchmaker, and you are not the watch running on its own. God is the singer, and you are the song. If the singer stops singing, the song does not continue. It stops instantly. The song has no independent existence apart from the act of singing. Your existence has no independent reality apart from God's continuous act of creating. Thomas uses the Latin word conservare, to conserve, to keep in existence. Creation is not just about the beginning. Creation is continuous. Every moment, God is creating you again, holding you in being, sustaining the atoms, the forces, the energy, the form of your body and soul. If he were to stop, if he were to withdraw his creative power for even a microsecond, you would not just die. Death implies a body that was alive and is now not alive. But the body would still exist. No, you would vanish. You would collapse back into the absolute nothingness from which you came. You would not leave a corpse. You would not leave even atoms. You would simply not be. But he does not stop. He does not let go. And here is the peace that comes from understanding this. You do not need to hold your life together tonight. You think you are responsible for your own existence. You think you must keep yourself going. When you are exhausted, you feel guilty. You feel you should be stronger. You should be able to sustain yourself. But you cannot sustain yourself. You never could. You are not the anchor. You are just a link in the chain. And that is not a weakness. That is your nature. A link is meant to be held. A link is designed to depend. The anxiety you feel when you try to be self-sufficient, that is the anxiety of trying to be God. Only God is self-sufficient. Only God has being in himself, from himself, by himself. You are a creature. You are contingent. You are dependent. And this is good news. It means you can let go. The chain is anchored in the bedrock of eternity. The anchor holds. The chain is strong. The weight of your existence, the burden of keeping yourself in being, that is not your job. God is doing it right now. He is sustaining you. Your next heartbeat will happen because he causes it. Your next breath will come because he provides it. You can let go of the weight. You can stop trying to hold yourself up. The anchor is secure. The first cause is acting, and he will not stop until your purpose is complete. Rest in the hands of your Maker. You are being held by the one who needs no one to hold him. Sink deeper now. Let us meditate on the chain and the reflection. Feel the iron link of your life. It is strong, but it is not holding itself up. Visualize the link above you and the link above that. See the chain rising through the roof of your room, rising through the clouds, rising through the stars, rising into the great silence. And there, at the very top, is the anchor. The anchor is gold. The anchor is immovable. It is hooked into the bedrock of eternity. Feel the tension in the chain. That tension is love. It is the love that refuses to let you fall. You can swing on the chain. You can rest your full weight on it. It will not break. It has held for billions of years. It will hold for tonight. Now shift the image. You are a reflection in a quiet pond. The water is still. Above you is the moon, the great light. You do not need to struggle to exist. You only need to reflect. As long as the light shines, you are safe, and the light is eternal. Let go of the grip. You don't need to hold the chain. The chain holds you. Release your hands. Release your mind. You are safe in the essential series. You are safe in the hands of the first cause. The rain outside the priory window is softer now, a gentle rhythmic drumming on the slate roof. Thomas watches a cloud pass over the moon. The cloud shifts, changes shape, and then dissolves into mist. This brings him to the third way, the argument from possibility and necessity. Some call this the argument from contingency, but Thomas uses the older language, the language of generation and corruption. Thomas looks at the world and sees things that are contingent. This word comes from the Latin contingere, to happen, to befall. It means something that might be or might not be. These are things that can exist or not exist. They are possible. Look at the cloud passing the moon outside your window. A moment ago, it was not there. The water vapor was still evaporating from the sea. Now it is there, white against the black sky, catching the moonlight. In an hour, it will dissolve. The water will fall as rain or drift apart in the wind. The cloud is contingent. It has come to be. It will cease to be. A flower blooms in the monastery garden, and then it fades. The flower emerges from the seed in spring. By autumn, it has returned to the earth. Even the great Roman ruins outside the city walls, they were built by hands long dead. and they will crumble further with each passing year. The stones themselves will eventually wear away to dust. Even the mountains, if you could watch them for 1,000,000 years, would erode to plains. Even your own body, it was formed in your mother's womb. It grew through childhood, and one day it will rest in the earth and return to the elements. Everything you worry about is contingent. Your job, it might last years, or you might lose it tomorrow. It is not necessary. Your money, the number in your account, it goes up, it goes down, it could vanish. Your status, your reputation, the way people think of you. This changes like smoke in the wind. Your health, your relationships, your plans. These are clouds. They are possible to be and possible not to be. They are generated and they corrupt. They come into being and they pass away. Thomas asks a terrifying question. A question that once asked cannot be unasked. If everything is like a cloud, if everything in the universe is merely possible, then why is there anything at all? Why is there something rather than nothing? Think about infinite time. Stretch your mind backward before the beginning. If everything can stop existing, then given infinite time, eventually everything would stop existing. If every single thing has the potential not to be, then at some point in the infinite past, that potential would have been realized. Imagine the void, the deep, silent blackness of nothing, no light, no atoms, no time, no space, just the absence. If everything is contingent, if everything is just a maybe, then the natural state of things is nothing. Because you cannot get something from nothing, ex nihilo nihil fit. This is a principle so obvious that even to state it seems silly, but it is the foundation of all reasoning about reality. You cannot get something from nothing. 0 plus 0 equals 0. An empty hand cannot give you bread. If at any point in the past there was absolutely nothing, then there would still be nothing now, because nothing has no power to create. Nothing has no potency to become something. Nothingness is not a thing that can do things. It is the absence of all things. So if everything is contingent, if everything can cease to be, then given infinite time, there should have been a moment when nothing existed, and if there was such a moment, we would not be here now. But look around your room. The world is not empty. You are here. The bed is here. The walls are here. The air is here. Your body is warm. Your mind is thinking. The rain is falling outside. Being is. Existence exists. This proves that there is one thing that is not a cloud. There is one thing that is a mountain. There must be something that exists necessarily. Something that cannot not exist. There must be a necessary being. Ens necessarium. A being that does not come and go. A being that does not have the potential to cease. A being that does not depend on anything else to be real. It just stays. It is eternal, not in the sense of lasting a very long time, but in the sense of being outside time altogether. Time is the measure of change, of things coming to be and passing away, but the necessary being does not change, so it does not experience time. It is not old, it is not young, it simply is, in an eternal now. Let us go to the very bottom of the well, to the deepest insight of the angelic doctor, the difference between what you are and that you are. This is the distinction between essence and existence. Think of a library, the library of possibilities. In this library are books describing everything that could exist. There is a book describing a phoenix. You know what it is. A bird of fire, a creature that rises from ash. You can describe its feathers, its heat, its cry. You know its essence. But pulling that book off the shelf does not make a phoenix fly into the room. There is a book describing a mountain of solid gold. You know what it is. You can calculate its weight. But that definition does not make it real. There is a book describing a unicorn, a book describing a centaur, and there is a book describing you. It lists your DNA, your personality, your thoughts. But the book itself is just paper and ink. It is just a definition. It is just essence. Knowing what you are does not make you exist. There is a divorce in you, a gap between your essence, what you are, and your existence, that you are. Because they are separate, something must glue them together. Something must be holding your existence to your essence right now. You are a composite, a mixture, and all mixtures need a mixer. You are like a word that is being spoken. The meaning of the word, your essence, and the sound of the word, your existence, are held together by the speaker. If the speaker stops, the word vanishes. But look at God. Walk to the center of the library. There is one book that is different from all the others. Ask the question, what is God? The answer is, He is the one who is. In God, there is no gap, there is no glue. His definition is to be. If you asked God, what are you? He would not say, I am a spirit, or I am powerful. He would say, I am. Existence is not something he has. It is what he is. This is why he is necessary. A phoenix does not have to exist. You do not have to exist. But existence itself must exist. The one being where what and that are the same. He is the bridge over the nothingness. He is the glue that holds your essence and your existence together. In the contingent things of the world, essence and existence are separate. Your essence is what you are, human, made of body and soul, rational, mortal. Your existence is that you are. The fact that you happen to be real rather than merely possible. These are not the same thing. You can understand what a unicorn is without believing unicorns exist. Essence answers the question, what is it? Existence answers the question, is it? In you, in me, in every created thing, these are distinct. We have an essence that might exist or might not. We are contingent. But in God, essence and existence are identical. God's essence is to exist. His what is that he is. He is subsistent existence itself. Ipsum esse subsistens. He does not have existence. He is existence. Just as fire does not have heat, but is hot by its very nature, God does not have being, but is being itself. This means he cannot not exist. His non-existence is impossible, not just unlikely. You cannot have existence itself and then suppose it doesn't exist. That would be a contradiction. If existence itself did not exist, then nothing would exist. But things do exist, therefore existence itself exists. God is the mountain. Your worries are the clouds passing around the peak. The peak does not move. The peak does not erode in your lifetime. The peak does not depend on the weather. The clouds swirl and change shape. They darken and lighten. They bring rain or they vanish in the sun, but the mountain remains. Often we feel anxiety because we try to make the clouds solid. We try to make our lives necessary. We try to build things that will never fade. We want our job to be secure forever. We want our relationships to be unbreakable. We want our health to be guaranteed. We want to be necessary. We want to be the mountain. But we are not the mountain. We are clouds. And Thomas tells you, let the clouds pass. You do not need to hold on to them. They are meant to dissolve. Your life is contingent. Your circumstances are temporary. Your body is mortal. This is not a flaw. This is your nature. You are a creature. You are made. You are contingent. You are a maybe. But he is the must. This is where the peace comes. You do not have to be permanent. You do not have to be self-sufficient. You can let go of the exhausting effort to make yourself necessary. You can let yourself be what you are, a passing thing, held by an eternal thing, a wave on the ocean. The wave rises and falls, but the ocean remains. You are not the ocean, you are the wave. And when the wave subsides back into the water, it does not cease. It returns to its source. Your anxieties about death, about losing what you have, about the impermanence of life, these come from trying to be the mountain when you are the cloud. But the cloud is not worse than the mountain. The cloud is not inferior. The cloud is beautiful. The cloud is free. The cloud is held by the sky. You are contingent. You are dependent. You are temporary. But you are held by the necessary one. He carries the weight of existence for you. He is the ground of being. He is the foundation that does not shift. Rest your head against the mountain. It is solid. It is necessary. It is yours. You do not have to be God. God is already God. You can be you, finite, limited, passing, and that is enough. Because he must exist, you are safe. Because he is eternal, your life has meaning, even though it is brief. Because he is necessary. You can afford to be contingent. Let go of the need to be permanent. Sink into the impermanence like sinking into a warm bath. The mountain holds the clouds. The necessary being sustains the contingent beings. You are safe precisely because you are not the foundation. The foundation is already laid, and it will never crack. Visualize the clouds again. See them drifting across the night sky of your mind. Label the clouds. One cloud is my job. Another is my money. Another is my health. Watch them drift. They are shapes of mist. They are beautiful, but they are not solid. Do not try to grab them. Do not try to freeze them. Let them change. Let them dissolve. Now, feel the mountain beneath them. Dark, massive, immovable. The mountain is God. The mountain is the necessary being. It was there before the clouds formed. It will be there after they scatter. You are resting on the mountain. You are a small flower growing in the cleft of the rock. The rock protects you. The rock sustains you. You do not need to be the rock. You only need to be the flower. Be fragile. Be temporary. Be small. It is safe to be small when the rock is so big. Sleep in the cleft of the rock. Thomas looks back at the candle on his desk. The flame is small but bright, hot enough to burn his finger if he gets too close. He thinks of the fire in the kitchen downstairs. It is hotter still, hot enough to cook bread, to boil water. He thinks of the forge in the town. It is hotter than that, hot enough to melt iron. He thinks of the sun. It is hottest of all, hot enough to give life to the entire world. This is the fourth way, the argument from gradation, from degrees of perfection. We look at the world and we see degrees, we see levels, we see hierarchy, we see a spectrum of heat, from cold to warm to hot to burning. We see a spectrum of light, from darkness to dim to bright to blinding. We say this thing is good. We say that thing is better. We say another is best. We say this is noble, that is nobler, that is noblest. We say this is true, that is truer, that is truest. But how do we know? How can we make these judgments? If you say one line is more crooked than another, you are implying you know what a straight line looks like. If you say one painting is a better likeness than another, you are implying you know what the original looks like. You cannot have better without best. You cannot have a more without a most. Thomas writes, "The maximum in any genus is the cause of all in that genus, as fire, which is the maximum heat, is the cause of all hot things." Think about what he means. In the medieval understanding of science, fire was considered the principle of heat. Fire is maximally hot. Everything else that is hot, warm water, heated metal, the sun-warmed stones, these things are hot because they participate in the nature of fire. They borrow their heat from the principle of heat. They are not hot in themselves. They are made hot by contact with something that is hot. Now apply this principle to all perfections, all qualities, all values. If there is a smell of smoke in the air, there must be a fire somewhere. If there is a shadow of goodness in the world, there must be a source of goodness. If there are degrees of truth, there must be absolute truth. If there are degrees of beauty, there must be perfect beauty. If there are degrees of being, some things existing more fully than others, there must be something that is being itself. Consider the concept of the perfect circle. You have never seen a perfect circle. You have seen tires, plates, coins. If you look at them under a microscope, they are all jagged. They all have bumps and flaws. They are all imperfectly circular. But you know what a perfect circle is. You have the standard in your mind. You judge the tire by the standard of the circle. Where does that standard live? Does it live in the tire? No. Does it live in your brain? No. Because the circle was true before you were born. There is an absolute standard for all these things. But it is not just a mathematical shape. It is a standard of being. Think of a compass. When you hold a compass, the needle points north. You might be in a dark forest. You might not see the North Pole. But the fact that the needle is pulling, the fact that it has direction, proves that magnetic north exists. Your soul is a compass. It points toward goodness. It points toward truth. It points toward beauty. The fact that you desire these things, the fact that you recognize them, proves they exist. You cannot desire what is not real. You cannot hunger for food if food does not exist in the universe. Your hunger for the perfect proves the perfect exists. You often feel you are not enough. You feel you are not good enough, smart enough, strong enough, beautiful enough. You measure yourself against others, and you feel small. You see someone more talented, and you feel your own inadequacy. You see someone more virtuous, and you feel your own failures. You see someone more successful, and you question your own worth. You feel you are only a spark fading in the dark, a flicker that might go out at any moment. You exhaust yourself trying to be better, trying to reach some standard that always moves further away. You think if you could just be perfect, then you would be at peace. But Thomas tells you, you do not need to be the standard. You are not the fire. You are just a person warming their hands by the fire. You are not the sun. You are just someone standing in the sunlight. There is a perfect being, a maximum being. He is the fullness of all perfections. He is goodness itself, truth itself, beauty itself, being itself. We are speaking here of the transcendentals. These are the properties that belong to being itself. Wherever there is existence, there is truth. Wherever there is existence, there is goodness. And because goodness and being are the same, for goodness is just being desired, the maximally real thing must be the maximally good thing, the maximally beautiful thing. You are not judged against your neighbor. You are not judged against a magazine cover. You are measured by your proximity to the fire, and the fire is not cold. The fire is love. The maximum of being is not a static block of ice. It is a burning furnace of charity. To approach the maximum is not to approach a judge, but a lover. He carries the burden of perfection, so you don't have to. You are allowed to be imperfect. You were made imperfect. You were made as a spark, not as the sun. And that is good. Thomas uses the language of participation. Think of a piece of iron placed in a fire. The iron is cold and black, but when you place it in the fire, it begins to glow. It becomes red, then white hot. It gives off heat. It gives off light. It acts like fire. But it has not become fire. It is still iron. It is participating in the nature of fire. If you take it out of the fire, it becomes cold again. You are the iron. God is the fire. You have goodness, but you are not goodness. You participate in the good. You have being, but you are not being. You participate in existence. Like the moon that shines, but the light is not its own. The moon participates in the light of the sun. If the sun were extinguished, the moon would be dark. The moon has no light in itself. In the same way, you have no goodness in yourself, no beauty in yourself, no truth in yourself. You are a receiver, a reflector, a participant. This relieves you of the pressure to be the source. You do not need to generate your own light. You only need to stay close to the sun. All the beauty you saw today, a smile on a stranger's face, a tree in winter, a painting in a gallery, the way the light fell through the window, those were just sparks flying from the great fire. Trace the sparks back to the source. Every moment of joy you've experienced, that was a ray of light from the perfect joy. Every moment of love, that was a drop of water from the ocean of love. Every moment of truth, that was an echo of the absolute truth. God is not good because he follows a standard of goodness outside himself. He is the standard. God is not beautiful because he conforms to some principle of beauty. He is beauty itself. He is the principle by which all beautiful things are measured. When you say something is good, what you are really saying is, this thing resembles God in some small way. When you say something is true, you are saying, this reflects the mind of God. When you say something is beautiful, you are saying, this echoes the infinite beauty. Think of a tuning fork. When a piano is out of tune, it sounds dissonant. It creates tension. To fix it, you need a tuning fork. You need something that holds the perfect pitch, the standard pitch. God is the tuning fork of the universe. He holds the note of perfect being. When we are anxious, we are out of tune. We are vibrating at the wrong frequency. We do not need to invent a new note. We need to listen to his note. We need to align ourselves with the pitch of reality. The closer we get to him, the more harmonious we become. Warm your soul by the fire of his perfection. When you feel cold, when you feel empty, joyless, loveless, do not try to generate heat from within yourself. You cannot. You are not the fire. Instead, draw near to the fire. God is not far away. He is the source of every good thing you have ever experienced. That moment last week when you felt at peace, that was his peace touching you. That moment of clarity when everything made sense, that was his truth illuminating you. That moment of beauty that took your breath away, that was his beauty showing through the created world. Draw near to him. Let his perfection warm you. God is not judging you for being small. He made you small so you could be filled by him. The cup does not apologize for being empty. The cup is meant to be filled. You are allowed to be imperfect tonight. You are allowed to be incomplete. You are allowed to be less than the maximum. The standard exists, and he loves you, not because you have achieved perfection, but because he is perfect in love. His love for you does not depend on your worthiness. His love makes you worthy. Stop trying to be God. Let God be God. Stop trying to generate your own light. Let his light shine through you. You are a spark from the great fire. You are a ray from the eternal sun. And that is enough. That is beautiful. That is good. Rest in your smallness. God will be the great one. The fire burns eternally, and you can rest in its warmth forever. Imagine you are sitting by a great hearth. The fire is roaring. It is a comfortable heat. It penetrates your skin. It warms your bones. You have been out in the cold for a long time. The cold of judgment, the cold of comparison, the cold of trying to be perfect. But now you are inside. Feel the warmth on your face. Feel it softening the lines of your forehead. Feel it relaxing the muscles of your jaw. You do not need to feed the fire. It is an eternal flame. It will not go out. You are the iron. Let yourself glow. Absorb the goodness. Absorb the love. You are warm. You are worthy. You are filled. Let the warmth spread to your toes, to your fingers. Sleep in the glow of the fire. Finally, Thomas lays down his pen. He is tired. The candle is burning low. The wax is dripping onto the wood of the desk, forming small white pools. He thinks of the fifth way, the governance of things, the argument from design, from final causality. He imagines an archer standing in a field at dawn. The mist is still on the ground. The archer pulls back the bow. The wood creaks under the tension. The string is taut. He aims carefully. His eye fixes on the target across the field. He releases. Thwip. An arrow flies through the air, cutting through the mist. Think of the arrow. The arrow has no eyes. It has no brain. It is just wood and feather and iron. It does not know where it is going. It does not know the target exists. It cannot see the bullseye. It cannot adjust its course mid-flight. If the arrow could think, it might be afraid. It might scream, "I am falling, I am drifting, I am tumbling through space. I must steer myself." But the arrow does not need to steer. The arrow flies straight, not because it is smart, but because the archer is smart. The arrow flies true, not because it has knowledge, but because it was aimed by one who has knowledge. Thomas says, "Whatever lacks intelligence cannot move towards an end, unless it be directed by some being endowed with knowledge and intelligence." This is the principle of teleology, of purpose, of final causality. Everything in nature acts for an end, acts toward a goal. We look at nature. We see the acorn become the oak every single time. Think of the acorn. It is small, hard, and silent. It does not have a brain. It does not have a plan. It does not know about photosynthesis or cellular division, but inside that acorn there is a program. There is a specific destination. The acorn never makes a mistake and becomes a pine tree. It never becomes a fish. It never becomes a stone. It moves toward oakness with unerring precision. It acts as if it knows the future. It acts as if it has a blueprint, but it lacks intelligence. So where is the blueprint? It must be in the mind of the one who made the acorn. We see the planets turn in their orbits year after year, century after century. The Earth circles the Sun at exactly the right distance to sustain life. Too close, and we would burn. Too far, and we would freeze. But the Earth does not know this. The Earth does not calculate its orbit. Yet the orbit is perfect. We see the bird build its nest. The bird weaves the twigs in exactly the right pattern. It lines the nest with soft materials. It does this the first time without being taught. The bird does not understand engineering. It does not understand insulation, yet the nest is perfectly designed for eggs. Thomas is pointing to something profound. Nature is directional. Nature has order. Nature moves toward goals. This directionality cannot come from the things themselves because they lack intelligence. The rock falling to the ground does not know about gravity. It does not choose to fall, yet it falls in exactly the right direction, at exactly the right speed, following laws it does not comprehend. Consider the difference between chance and design. If you took a handful of wooden letters and threw them on the floor, they might scatter randomly. They might spell A or at. But if you threw them on the floor and they spelled out the opening lines of the Iliad perfectly in Greek, you would know instantly that this was not chance. You would know that a mind arranged them. Order implies an orderer. Complexity implies a composer. The universe is not a scattered handful of letters. The universe is a poem. It is an epic poem, written in the language of mathematics, physics, and biology. Every atom is a syllable. Every galaxy is a stanza, and it all rhymes. Consider the analogy of the ship. Imagine a great ship crossing a dark ocean at night. The passengers are asleep in their cabins. They do not know where they are. They do not know how to steer. They do not know the currents or the stars. If you looked at the ship from the outside, you would see it cutting through the waves with purpose. It turns right, it turns left, it avoids the iceberg, it heads straight for the harbor. The ship itself is made of wood and iron. It is unintelligent, but it acts intelligently. Why? Because there is a pilot at the wheel. The passengers can sleep peacefully because the pilot is awake. The universe is that ship. You are the passenger. You do not need to know how to steer the stars. You do not need to know how to make the sun rise. The pilot has the wheel. And you? You are a microcosm of that universe. You have intricate desires. You have a hunger for the infinite. You have a thirst for justice. These are not random accidents. These are the shape of the arrow. A hunger implies food exists. A thirst implies water exists. A desire for God implies God exists. You are designed, and a design proves a designer. You are not a random collision of particles. You are a thought in the mind of the eternal. You are the arrow, the events of your life, the confusion, the twists and turns, the sudden changes of direction. You feel the wind rushing past. You feel the speed. You feel yourself spinning through space, and you are afraid because you cannot see the target. You do not know where you are going. You do not know what your life is for. You cannot see 5 years into the future. You cannot even see tomorrow clearly. You lie awake at night thinking, what if I make the wrong choice? What if I miss my purpose? What if I veer off course? But you do not need to see the target. You were loosed by an archer who does not miss. Before you were born, before time began, God had a purpose for you. Not a vague, general purpose. A specific purpose. A target with your name on it. You were crafted, body and soul, for a particular end. Your desires, your talents, your circumstances, even your struggles, these are the shape of the arrow. These determine your flight path. And the archer knows the wind. The archer knows the distance. The archer knows the trajectory. This is what Thomas calls divine providence, providentia, from providere, to see ahead, to see before. God sees the end from the beginning. He sees where you are going before you leave. He sees the destination while you are still in flight. And more than that, He is guiding you there, not by removing your free will. The arrow still has the arrow's nature, but by working through your nature, through your choices, through the circumstances of your life, He directs all things toward their proper ends. The universe is not chaos. It is cosmos. It is order. Thomas teaches that God governs the world the way a king governs a kingdom, not by doing everything himself, but by giving each thing its own nature and letting it act according to that nature. The fire burns because it is fire. The water flows downward because it is water. You choose because you are rational. You love because you are made in God's image. God does not override these natures. He works through them. He is the author of the play, and you are the actor. You have real freedom in how you deliver your lines, in how you interpret your character, but the author knows how the play ends. The author has written your role with a purpose. You feel you must control everything. You feel you must steer your life with perfect precision. If you could just plan correctly, if you could just make the right choices, if you could just see all the variables. But you cannot. You are the arrow, not the archer. You do not have the vantage point. You do not have the knowledge. You do not have the power. And that is good, because the archer does. Sometimes the arrow flies through darkness. Sometimes you cannot see anything. The forest is thick. The night is black. The mist obscures everything. You do not know where you are. You do not know if you are on course. This is when the anxiety comes. This is when you feel most lost. But the arrow in the darkness is still flying true. The archer's aim does not depend on the arrow's sight. Your purpose does not depend on your ability to see it. God is not guessing. God is not hoping things work out. He knows. He sees. He guides. Stop trying to steer the wind. Stop trying to hold up the sky. Stop trying to see the target from mid-flight. You are being directed to your end by the mind of God, and that end is peace. Not just peace when you die, peace now. Because peace comes from alignment, from moving toward your proper end. A thing is at rest when it reaches its goal. The arrow is at rest when it strikes the target. Your soul is at rest when it moves in harmony with God's purpose. And every day that you seek Him, every day that you try to love and serve, every day that you align your will with His, you are flying true. You are on course. The archer's hand guided you at the moment of release, and the archer's hand will guide you until you strike home. The target exists. It is real. It is waiting. You were made for it, and it was made for you. Your heart will be restless until it rests in that target. All the smaller goals, the career, the family, the achievements, these are good. But they are not the final target. They are markers along the way. The final target is God Himself. You were made for union with Him, for knowledge of Him, for love of Him. Everything else in your life is preparation for that. Every joy is a foretaste. Every sorrow is a purification. Every choice is a turn toward or away. But the archer knows even your misses will be corrected. He can adjust the wind. He can alter the course. He can bring good even from your mistakes. So rest in the flight. Stop thrashing. Stop trying to grab the air. The arrow that fights the wind does not fly straighter. It tumbles. The arrow that surrenders to the flight, that trusts the archer, that accepts its nature, that arrow flies true. You are being carried toward your end right now. Not someday. Now. Every breath is part of the flight. Every heartbeat is part of the journey. And the destination is sure. The archer does not miss. Trust the aim. Trust the hand. Trust the flight. Your life is not random. Your struggles are not meaningless. Your path is not chaotic. You are an arrow loosed by God, flying toward the target of perfect joy. And you will strike home. The governance of God is perfect. The providence of God is sure. Sleep now in the knowledge that you are aimed. Sleep now in the trust that the archer knows. Sleep now in the peace that the target is certain. You do not need to see it. You need only to fly, and the archer will do the rest. Feel the sensation of flying, not the frantic flapping of wings, but the smooth gliding flight of the arrow. The air rushes past you. It is a cool wind. You are weightless. You are moving fast, but you feel still. You do not know where the target is, and you do not need to know. You can close your eyes in mid-air. Trust the trajectory. The release was perfect. The aim was true. You are not lost. You are simply in transit. Enjoy the flight. Enjoy the wind. Let go of the steering wheel. There is no steering wheel. There is only the providence of the archer. Fly into the darkness. Fly into the sleep. The proof is finished. The logic holds. The 5 ways are complete. The mind can stop working now. Thomas sets down his quill. He closes the ink. He watches the candle flame dance one last time. Then he blows it out. Darkness. But it is not the darkness of emptiness. It is the darkness of fullness. The darkness of a room where someone is resting. The darkness of safety. Let the truths settle into your soul like stones settling into the earth. The unmoved mover holds you. You do not have to move yourself. The first cause anchors you. You do not have to hold yourself in existence. The necessary being sustains you. You do not have to be permanent. The perfect fire warms you. You do not have to be perfect. The archer guides you. You do not have to see the target. Quinque viae, the 5 ways, 5 paths to certainty, 5 roads to peace. There is no doubt. There is only truth. The walls of the fortress are thick. The storm cannot come in. You are inside now. You are safe. The arguments are done. The questions are answered. God exists, not as a hypothesis, not as a hope, as a certainty, as the ground beneath your feet, as the air in your lungs, as the beat of your heart. He is closer to you than you are to yourself. He is the reason you exist at this very second. Without him, you would not be. But with him, you are, and you are loved, and you are known, and you are held. Sleep now in the safety of the truth. Sleep now in the hands of the unmoved mover. Sleep now in the chain held by the first cause. Sleep now against the mountain that cannot fall. Sleep now warmed by the perfect fire. Sleep now flying toward the target you cannot miss. Requiescat in pace. Rest in peace. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts fade. Let your body sink deeper into the bed. You are a stone settling. You are a wave returning to the ocean. You are an arrow in flight, and all is well. Thomas closes his eyes in the tower. The rain continues outside, but inside there is only silence and safety and certainty. Good night, good night, good night.